Hello guys, I'm Kobna.
And I'm Lux.
And welcome to a new segment.
Yeah, a new series, perhaps.
A new series on our channel called Our Almanack.
Yeah.
And if Lux, if you maybe want to explain that.
Yeah, we kind of struggled with the name and settled on this one because an almanac is a collection of knowledge which you pass on to people. And we thought it would be quite good for a series where we actually talk about books and comics and such that we actually like.
Or have read.
Yeah. Kind of like giving you a base knowledge of the product and the book or the comic.
Yeah. We have read the first volume, which I think we found out is like the first
five
comics.
This is kind of like a summarized work where it takes the first three comics that released and puts it into a volume.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think?
Should we perhaps start by talking what this is about?
Yeah, we can talk about that.
just to give the viewer / listener a basis idea of what this is about.
So, but the thing is, we don't really know yet.
No.
So Paper Girls is a comic about. It starts with one protagonist called Erin, who all we really know about her is she has a sister.
The whole series actually starts with a horrible nightmare.
Yeah, containing her sister.
Yeah.
But she is a paper girl, which means she delivers newspapers early in the morning for her community, which is in, was it Cleveland, I think?
Something like that.
And one morning she...
it's actually Halloween.
Yeah, that is also true. She bumps into some mean boys who want to take a newspaper from her, and then she meets the three other sub-protagonists, I would say, which is three other paper girls called Mackenzie, Tiffany, and KJ, which we found out was for Kate?
Karina. It's also quite important to note that this is a story that takes place back in 1988.
Yes.
Just to kind of like, there are no cell phones and things like that.
Yeah. I think I found it out by seeing like vote for Bush 88.
Yeah.
Like lawn poster.
Yeah.
That's a funny little Easter egg.
Yeah, but these girls, the other girls kind of go up and help her, and they tell her that for, I think, the last year, the three other girls also met because there was a lot of lunatics out on Halloween.
Yeah.
So they're out.
It was sort of a way to stay safe.
Yeah, they're keeping together to stay safe while on this paper route.
Yeah. But we don't get very far into the actual book before weird shit starts happening.
And that's the major thing. If this comic is kind of like, it's called Paper Girls, and you're like, oh, perhaps this is just something like... I thought first, when I was about to read it, it would be something like Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Where it's very low-key at the start, but this kind of like just explodes in your face with all the weirdness.
Yeah. So, like three hooded guys or three guys in weird robes appear, and as I would say, kind of Stranger Things like, they only show that there might be something weird about them.
They're also talking a different language.
Yeah, but we don't see that here. We only see a pupil in the star, which is like fucking strange.
They look weird.
They look weird and they look suspicious. But as we progress in the comic book,
isn't one of the big things that a walkie-talkie is stolen? Might be later.
It might be later, yeah. But the four girls, I can't remember for what reason, but they enter a house and find some mysterious meat machine of some sort in the basement.
If you have any knowledge of Doctor Who, it kind of looks like a cross between the TARDIS and a Dalek.
It actually kind of does. It's not very blue.
No?
And is there meat on Daleks?
Yeah, inside.
Yeah, but this like it looks like
exposed meat. Flesh.
Yeah. So that's weird.
That's a weird machine.
Yeah.
Then a sudden explosion.
Yeah, where nothing really happens. Or they don't really know what happened. They don't really know what's going on. Nothing happens to any of them.
At this point, I was quite sure what had happened. That they were I was thinking they were transported to some parallel universe.
Yeah.
Because suddenly the sky is different, and everyone's gone.
Yeah. And that's when weird shit starts to happen. They encounter these weird hooded figures
again.
Because first time they don't meet them. They just appear.
Yeah, that's true. But they see them for the second time.
They see them for the second. No,
they don't.
They don't see them. Aaron rides
away,
and then they just kind of slips out.
Sorry, that's true.
See them. So that's the first time they meet them. We found out they speak a language that we have no chance of understanding.
No. It's actually written with different symbols than our alphabet.
And I'm sure if you take enough time, you can get a linguist to tell you what they're saying. But
perhaps
we don't have time.
It might also just be gibberish.
Yeah, we don't have time for that. After this, it kind of escalates. We've just to maybe speed this up a bit because we don't want to tell the whole story. We find out that these people are from the future.
Yeah.
And they are one part of the future.
There's another group of future fighter thingies.
And I think it's safe to say that they're in kind of a war with each other, or a dispute.
Yeah.
Of some sort.
Suddenly they're thrust into a war between two future factions.
Yeah, and they don't really know what's going on. We don't really know what's going on.
And then the horrible scene where they actually, I think we can mention that something horrible happens when they actually look for one of their parents. Mackenzie, they actually go back to Mackenzie's house.
Oh yeah, to find a gun.
She says, "We have a gun."
Yeah.
And shit goes down. And we actually, I think this is the first evidence of an actual parent being anywhere.
Yeah, we do. That's it's like, and it isn't even a parent biologically. It's
no, it's a stepmom.
And she is like an alcoholic, or is at least portrayed to be an alcoholic.
She's also quite certain that what happened was the rapture.
Yeah.
That everyone was taken to the heaven, and they were left behind.
They were left behind in hell.
So she's quite suicidal. She's quite depressed. Things are not going well.
No. And
this kind of I don't actually know if we should talk more about the story, or we should just talk about what we think about this.
I think we've given a picture of what's happening and the status quo without spoiling anything.
Yeah.
Really.
Just imagine this story where everything at first everything is weird because of the weird nightmare. Then everything's back to normal.
But I mean, that's just a nightmare.
Yeah, that's just a nightmare. But again, you start the story with the nightmare, so you're like, what is this?
Yeah.
What? And then everything's normal, Halloween, and then shit goes down.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's a fine abbreviation of it. But let's then talk about. I think there's several ways to look to review this, and I would like to know from you, what do you think of the art style?
I quite like it.
You like it?
It's quite simplistic.
Yeah.
Some would say, but still with a lot of details. It's quite you could almost say rude. Crude's better.
Crude.
Both actually apply in some way, I would say, because it's quite sharp lines at some points, and it's very basic at other points.
You realize what rude means, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know. But again, I've read other works by Brian K. Vaughan.
Is it the same?
I don't think it's the same who does the drawings, actually.
Okay.
In Saga, but they're quite similar, I would say. So I actually quite like it.
Yeah.
What about you?
I don't.
You don't?
I don't like it. I don't think there's anything. I mean, when I read a comic like this, and it's clear. When I actually saw the front, I was like, this looks cool. But when I read a comic, the one facet about the comic, one aspect of a comic.
A comic.
I'm all over the place. One aspect of a comic is of course the story. And we'll get to that. The other one I think is the art, because that's why we read comic books. Otherwise, it would just be a book. And this one doesn't stand out. I think it's
I think so.
It looks like a template.
Well, we both read Attack on Titan. That's a comic I would say really looks like a template.
It does, and it does, and I don't like the art as. I mean, they have done the thing by that I think weren't really possible by making like cartoon drawing scary, and I would say that is impressive. But I don't see anything standing out here.
No.
I mean, these guys who I think we can also reveal looks
quite weird. Looks like they have some cybernetic enhancements or something.
Without revealing too much. I could see I could see him getting the idea from for their look elsewhere. Same with the other group, which I would say, to give them one word, looks more authoritative. And monsters like
there's a big television monster.
Yeah, I don't know what you call it, but the thing is, everything that this kind of Trident does in a unique way, I can see them get much of the inspiration elsewhere. So I wouldn't read this further for the art.
No, I think that's a fair point. With the thing you're talking about, that nothing is quite original, I kind of disagree.
Yeah,
because it's true it looks like they've taken inspiration, but I also think it's just your mind. Like I said, there's a big green thing with eye stalks and televisions at the end of the eye stalks. For me,
I think it's eyes.
Yeah, but it's kind of television shaped.
Yeah, it's cute, but it's eyes.
But nonetheless, it looks a lot to me like a beholder from Dungeons and Dragons, which is a monster that is round, flies around, has eye stalks.
Yeah.
But again, I can see the inspiration, but also I think it's just a way for my mind to kind of fill in the blank to what it could actually be.
Yeah.
I agree the art style is something that some people might not like. I personally... let's just say that there should be a lot of things wrong with the art style before I don't like it.
Yeah.
And I would actually say Attack on Titan was one of the things I had quite a hard time
adjusting to.
Yeah, because it looks really...
It looks like every other manga.
I wouldn't say that. I would say it looks like this was the first phase of the comic.
First, what do you mean?
Like...
like the sketch drawings?
Yeah, a sketch drawing or a template.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I would say you haven't written the original works. You've read it off the...
Yeah, but I've also looked at the books in the comic book store.
Yeah, okay.
That was actually the first time I was like, oh, this looks kind of weird.
Yeah.
Compared to when you actually watch the anime.
I think that's... Yeah. We don't need to get into that.
No. I would just say, for me, the artwork isn't the worst. It's also not the best. I think it's quite good.
I didn't say it was the worst at all. But I don't like it. And for me to read a comic book, I don't read a lot of comic books as opposed to you.
Yeah.
I think this is actually the first comic book that isn't a manga I have read in many years. And for me, something needs to stand out. And
I think that's fair.
This doesn't at all.
And that's fair.
Yeah. The story.
This is actually where I think...
I think we should start by saying we only know one third of the story as it has been published. As published.
Yeah. Yeah. I just... what do you say? The story is actually, I think it's one of the strongest points of the comic book, but also one of its weakest. Yeah. It's kind of like, what do you call it? An dual-edged sword or something. It has weaknesses and it has strengths. The stories were very interesting for someone as myself who really like delving into mysteries, and who really likes elaborate storytelling with something like time travel and sci-fi and machines and
stuff.
All these things. Yeah. It's quite interesting. But after reading the first volume, you don't really have a lot of answers.
No.
And that's one of the major flaws of this.
Yeah.
You really need to stick it through. You really need to kind of commit yourself, because at the end you don't even know what's really going on.
Yeah. To some degree, I would disagree. Simply because I don't know how this has been. This specific volume has been like branded, in the sense that I would actually relate it to, or shoot a reference out to the Warcraft movie. Because this is the start of a universe.
True.
Which is also what the Warcraft movie was. It's the start to a new universe, where the Warcraft movie, if anyone saw some back behind the scenes and stuff, they would know that Duncan Jones.
Wow.
Jesus. He was very like, this is a movie that this isn't a conventional movie with like a build up and then a climax and then a big twist. This is kind of a way to set up this universe for future expanding. And he did that by like focusing his movie on the conflict between the orcs and their
humans.
No, but the orcs and their former planet, which they can't live on anymore, which then escalated into orcs versus humans, which is very much the first Warcraft game. It's orcs versus humans. Whereas I think this kind of does the same. It kind of gives you all the questions and none of the answers, and that's first. You're bleeding in the mouth.
Oh, sorry. I don't know.
And I'll give you.
I think it's my nosebleed or something, perhaps.
Okay, and I'll give you that's frustrating, very frustrating, because you end up with all these questions and get answers for basically none of them. But if Brian Vaughan has done this in order to like, all right, this is the universe, get ready to get all the answers, get ready to solve all the mysteries, then I would sympathize with him.
I can see your point.
Yeah.
But I would say this does it more bad than the Warcraft movie, because the Warcraft movie is kind of like a self-contained story, and then trying to expand the universe at the same time. Yeah. This is kind of like, this is a self-contained story, but you don't really get anything for this self-contained story.
No.
This is, I can see your argument, but I would say it's doing a much poorer job.
Yeah.
Because the Warcraft movie can be viewed independently.
Totally.
If you just view this work independently, it doesn't give you anything.
Nah.
And I actually think it's quite a. Perhaps it shouldn't have been cut off by volume 5.
Yeah. You should have given it one more. You think?
I don't know what happens next.
Yeah.
But I think it's a weird cutting off point.
I mean, it is that major cliffhanger.
It is. It's a major cliffhanger,
which we're not going to discuss.
But still, you're like, so what actually happened?
Yeah, and I agree with you with that. I'm just trying to find a reason for why he did it, and I say, if he tried to like build the universe and establish the universe for everyone, I can see him. I can see he tried. I will partially agree with you saying he didn't do it very well. But if that is the reason for cutting it there, I can understand him.
I think it's a good cutting point, like you're saying. It's a good cutting point for what it is.
Yeah.
I just think, and again, I'm gonna say, if you read other works by Brian K. Vaughan, Saga is also quite confusing, I would say. But I eventually really loved the comic.
Yeah. But actually.
Yeah.
Just a quick throwback to the art style. I love the art style in Saga much more. Just because there are things that are like, where I'm like,
Do you remember
the art style? Even the art style creates questions for me, and that I think that's good. That's a good comic. If the comic without pictures makes me think, okay, what is this? What is this? How does this happen? I consider that a good comic. That did not happen.
No.
One time.
I can see
everything could be explained with future shit and future and more future. So it's just like everything could be explained in like one word with the art at least. And I know that Saga, I couldn't do that. I think like it was the first 5 pages where. You showed me just some 5 pages where some televisions had sex.
Oh yeah, that's so robot.
Robot, fine.
Oh sir robot.
Sir robot.
He's royalty. I think actually one of my favorite things I ever showed you in Saga was like, hey, look at this! It's a dragon blowing itself.
Yeah. So that was all, and that was unique. That was unique. I couldn't figure out. All right, where has he got that idea from? So yeah, that was a throwback to the art. But I think we both agree that the story, as of what we've read, is a lot of questions and none answers.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I actually find it quite interesting. Yeah. Let's just say one of the big things, it seems like the evil overlord is working for Apple. And that's a weird but quite intriguing thing.
Yeah. But again, we don't know anything. We've seen like an Apple device. That's basically it, isn't it?
Something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know.
I would just say, I'm personally gonna continue buying this comic book series.
Yeah.
One of the things I really like the author. I have quite a lot of
faith in the author.
I have quite a lot of trust in Brian K. Vaughan.
Yeah.
And as I said earlier, I'm a man of mystery. I really like mysteries.
Yeah.
And this kind of tickled that itch.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
Again, I would say it's only for certain people.
Definitely.
And I think you really need to kind of look, like you said, with perhaps the Warcraft movie. You need to look at it with a broader scope.
Yeah, with a wider perspective.
You need to say, this is the first of many.
Yeah.
I need to view this not as a solo product, but I need to view...
as a platform more than anything.
And, you know, as a bigger story told through several volumes.
Yeah.
But again, I think you need to capture your viewer, which he hasn't really done that well.
I mean, if you bought this...
I was actually gifted it. That's also...
You were gifted it.
Yeah.
If it were given a gift to me, I would have read it. I would not have bought the next one.
No.
Just because I feel like I don't know how to explain it, but it's like I also see it in badly made like TV shows that when they don't really have anything, they just give you a cliffhanger and then sort of figure out what to do next.
True.
And I sort of felt like that was what happened here. I don't think it's what happened, but I got the feeling.
I can imagine that.
And I think that would completely turn me off. I'll be like, all right, done. But if you buy it, I'm definitely gonna give it another chance.
And that's actually one of the big things. What if the next volume is really paying it off?
Yeah.
The first one. That would be... And again, I'm not actually sure the second volume will. I'm not even sure the third volume will.
No.
But it might be the feeling of, you know...
We get something.
Yeah. I would say you should buy this comic book if you kind of like that 80s nostalgia. This kind of like... At the beginning, at least, it's kind of like this Stand By Me, Stranger Things, kids going on adventures, trying to solve mysteries.
It feels very much in that.
It's kind of like
genre.
Kind of like a more serious Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
So if you really like that sort of genre,
they even split up.
Yeah, they even split up.
Fucking idiots.
Then I think you should read it.
Yeah.
But like we said, I think you should. I think it's too harsh to actually judge this volume.
If your library has it, start with lending it.
Yeah.
Because I have very much difficulty believing that anyone will like this, and I think that that if I think it could be a very very sour taste, also just of Brian Vaughan, if you buy this and just find it totally, it doesn't give you anything. So I would almost say if I personally were to suggest it, I would say lend it
from your local library.
If they have it, find it in your local library and then read it. And if it's something for you, then maybe.
I can't really.
Then I would maybe say then give it a serious chance.
And I would also say I can't really specifically talk, because I haven't read the second volume. No. But already right now I would say, if there's some special package or something, buy the first 2 volumes.
Yeah, but I would also say he is giving this as a book, which means, as you said, this should be reviewed as a standalone comic.
Kinda.
With a sequel, of course. But this should be reviewed as Lord of the Rings 1 was.
Yeah, kinda, because it's reviewed. A big cohesive story.
Yeah, it's a part of a major story, but it should be in itself a story. If you
could criticize it for not being a story on its own.
Yeah,
you could.
Yeah,
some things happen. I would say not to spoil too much, but things happen and you kind of get some explanation. Just to not say, "Wow, that was good for the mic." That was my bad. We get to, like you said. We actually learn about these 2 future factions. We learn a bit about them, and that they actually seems to be in a war against each other.
Yeah.
Instead of them just being weird guys.
Yeah. But then again,
we don't know a lot.
We don't know if it is a war, if it's just like 2 small cities that have a feud with each other. We know that there are these 2 kinds of people in the future. We don't know when. Apple exists apparently. And we know that they don't like each other. That's kind of it. It's not. We don't know if it's based worldwide or if it's very local.
Like I said, we don't get a lot.
No.
But we actually get something. I would say. We get the hint of a bigger conflict.
Do we? A bigger conflict?
I would say. At the start, we only see these guys who steal their walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
And then we suddenly see these guys riding on giant lizards.
Yeah. It's not lizards.
No, sorry. Dinosaurs. Pterodactyls. But we get the kind of feeling that there's something more to this. Also later in the story, I would say, when the older guy confronts the girls and he talks about old versus young.
Yeah.
We kind of get a hint at something. I would really not say it's a lot.
No.
It's the slightest of hints.
Yeah. I mean, you can even see. I forgot it. I legit forgot that. So yeah. But is there anything else you want to say?
Not really. I would just say, if you have the money, if you like the author,
give it a shot. Yeah.
And I'll actually be interested when we come back after reading the second volume, and seeing if it was worth it.
Yeah.
If the first volume was worth the second one.
Yeah. But I think that was the end of our first Our Almanack series. This is not like a recurring series that would happen every week. No. Such as our Bloodborne or our talk through. This will come when we have it, basically.
Yeah, when we have the books or comics.
Yeah.
We've been thinking about talking about Ready Player One before the release of the movie.
Yeah, I need to read it.
Yeah, but just to give a brief idea.
Yeah.
The plan is for us to read the same works of fiction or non-fiction.
True.
And then talk about them.
Yeah.
This is primarily a series focused on books and comics, manga.
Yeah. We actually also, I think at least I had the idea. I don't know if I actually discussed it with you, but taking a book that has been made into a film.
You talked about it.
And then line up the differences.
Yeah,
and
compare the book to the movie.
Yeah, but that was because I, for the first time in my life, which is impressive, read Lord of the Rings.
Oh.
And found, holy shit, they
left
out a shit ton of things.
You know the classic dispute about Tom Bombadil.
Yeah. He's not even in the movie. What the fuck is up with that? He was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
And why does Arwen meet them in the forest? Where's that Glorfindel guy?
Yeah.
That's not fair.
But I actually think it makes a lot of sense. They kind of needed to push the when
Aragon romance.
Yeah. I like the movies.
I like the movies. They're fucking brilliant.
But I think we should.
Cut off. If you like this series, show us some love by liking and subscribing. Maybe actually give us
some recommendations.
Yeah, some suggestions. If you wanna. I mean, it's gonna take time because I'm in uni and
also it's gonna take some time to read things.
Yeah, but just more time because I'm in uni and read I think 150 pages every week for that, and kind of tired after that. So be patient with this series. It's gonna come out when we
feel like it.
When we feel like it. It's not gonna be something on demand as much as Bloodborne or Talk Through.
No, true.
But let us know what you think. And
we hope you enjoyed.
Bye.
Bye.